Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am so incredibly excited to have you here. If you are returning, then a massive thank you. And if it's your first time coming, then thank you so much for joining me. Today, I want to break down something that I think is absolutely important for you to know if you run a business, if you're an entrepreneur, or if you want to get into business. And this is the 7-figure mindset. Now, you might be thinking, but Pam, I haven't even hit £1,000 or $1,000 per month. How am I going to take on a 7-figure mindset? Well, I promise you that it's definitely worth you watching this video and watching it right till the end, because if you can adopt the mindset that I'm sharing with you, then everything else will fall into place a lot quicker than it does for most people. I want to break down 5 secrets of 7-figure earners that you can adopt today. So let's dive in. Before we do, my name is Pam Obasa and I'm the founder of The Lucrative Lady. And if you enjoy watching videos that really help you to scale up your business financially and in your mindset, then do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on your bell. We publish 3 times a week. And if you do, you get to be the first one to see when we publish. So this specific masterclass or video that I created was actually done live in front of my live audience on Facebook and on Instagram. So as you watch it, that is one of the reasons why my eye line isn't to this camera, it's to different cameras, because I had several other devices. I just thought I'd mention that before you even dive in. But that doesn't take away from the value that I shared, and I wanted to bring it to my YouTube audience because I know that if you can walk away with this one thing, it would really set you up for success really quickly. So let's dive in. So today's live is something pretty powerful that I want to share with you. I had initially planned to go live to talk about the secrets of storytelling and give you some keys for how to use storytelling to sell. But the more I thought about that, the more I thought to myself that actually, before sharing that with you, there is something else that I really think is important to share with you all. Because without what I'm going to be sharing with you today, you won't actually know what to do with the whole storytelling thing or how to create your offers and all of these other amazing things that I do want you to know. You wouldn't know how to use them. So today, I want to share with you the secrets to 7 figures. Some of the things that hardly anybody talks about. Yes, I know that so many people talk about, the how to make money part of it and all of those things, but there is so many things that you need to know, especially when it comes to the mindset behind this, that I am going to be breaking down in this live today. And if you're watching me and you're thinking, I don't even know who you are, Pam, how did we even cross paths? Then I'm Pam Obasa and I'm the founder of The Lucrative Lady, and I do live streams and I create products, etc., to help coaches and consultants and service-based business owners to hit a 6-figure per month, right? To hit it. Of course, the first milestone is to hit 10K per month, and then we move on from there. And so, just being in my world means that I'm a little bit bonkers, I'm a little bit crazy, but I'm all about helping you to take your business to that next level, and that is by taking you to class. So today I want to share with you 5 different keys, guys. 5 different keys for hitting 7 figures in your business or 6 figures per month in your business. I remember when my business first did its first 6 figures. In fact, let me strike back. Let me take you a step back to the very first time that we did over 50K in a very short space of time, and it was when we did 65K in 35 days. I nearly rolled over in dirt because it was that significant. Bearing in mind that I come from a background where it's almost impossible to see a person who looks like me who is doing really well, who is being successful, and who is doing well in their life. It's unheard of. It's also unheard of to see somebody who looks like me, who does what I do. I mean, what do you mean that you have a business online? Do you even have a job? Do you see what I'm trying to say? It's really unheard of. And in fact, as I have grown my business, I've received messages from loads of women which have been amazing, and people being really impressed, saying, things such as just being impressed, to see an African woman, a black woman, a dark-skinned black woman doing well. All of these things that, to be honest, yes, I am all of those things, but I don't subscribe to them. But it just goes to show that, it's unique. right? It's unique. In my world, it's very unique. So when I share these wins with you, it's not because I want to brag. It's truly because it is a surprise to me, just as it is a surprise to everybody else. It is truly a surprise. Now, when I was 16, I had my very first job. I worked at the cinema, and I was your regular popcorn scooper. That's right, I was the popcorn scooper behind the counter scooping all the popcorn, and it was completely fine. I was just 16. That was my first job. Now, as I started the job, and as weeks went by and months went by, I remember one day I was busy scooping popcorn, and one of the manager's supervisors came in. And I overheard them talking. They weren't talking to me, they were talking to somebody else. So I overheard them talking, and he said something along the lines of, oh, the bag that Pam is scooping actually costs us 17p to buy, right? So those of you outside of the UK, 17p is like 17 cents or whatever. It's less than £1 or less than $1, right? It's 17p. Now, bearing in mind, this bag was as tall as me. I'm not even joking. This bag was as tall as me. So I was lifting this bag, pouring it into the popcorn bucket, mixing everything and scooping it into smaller boxes to then sell on. And he said, this bag cost us 17p. I immediately did the math in my head and I said, hold on a minute. This bag cost you 17p. From this bag, I'm able to make up a minimum of 50 boxes of popcorn. Now, each box of popcorn that I was making up, we would then sell at the cinema for a minimum of £3.50 per small box. Now, there was a small box for £3.50, a medium box for £4.50, and a large box for £6.50. So at the barest minimum, it was £3.50. So I did the maths in my head and I thought, 17p per bag. I'm making up a minimum of 50 boxes at £3.50, and in my head I worked out that the cinema, from a 17p bag, they were actually making £175 from a 17p bag of popcorn. And I thought, hold on a minute. Hold on 1 minute. Like, is this, am I mad? I thought about it again. Hold on a minute, 17p per bag. 50 boxes of popcorn times £3.50. You are making £175 per bag of popcorn as big as me that you paid 17p for. That was the day that I made the decision that I would never work for somebody else, that I would work for my own self. And so a few months later, I quit my job at the cinema. Now, I'm not advising anybody to quit their jobs, but this is how I started. This started a chain reaction in my head, because instantly I started to do the math and I started to understand that making money is truly about knowing your numbers, guys. Right? Making money is truly about knowing your numbers and understanding the cost of buying, the cost of selling, and where your profit lies. And this is where a lot of people, when they are starting out in their business, this is one of the things that they do not think about. Because most people want to start a business for passion. Most people want to start a business because it's something that they genuinely enjoy doing, and that's great. I'm not even knocking that. But as well as your passion, you've also got to understand where your money is, right? Where your money is going to come from. What is the investment for that offer going to be? Do your math. Right? What does it look like when I enroll X amount of clients, or when I make X amount of sales? What does that look like? But not only that, what is required, right, for me to be able to do those numbers? You see, before I had a sales team in my business, and now I have an incredible sales team who do our selling and who get on calls and do consultations. Prior to that, I was the only one in my business doing the sales consults, and I would get on calls with a lot of coaches, and when I would ask them, what is your money goal? They'd give me a figure. Right, so they might say, Pam, my money goal is to make 350k a year. Brilliant. I would write that down. That is a brilliant money goal. I'd write that down. Then I would say, okay, brilliant. So for what you have right now, whatever it is that you're selling, how much are you currently charging? And they would give me a figure. They would say something like, well, I'm charging £100 or $100 per hour, or I'm charging £500, or I'm charging X amount. And by the time I would break down for them how long, or how much, or how many clients are required in order for them to hit their money goal, you realize that it's actually a pipe dream. What does that mean? It means that there is no way under the sun that they will be able to make that amount of money because their business just isn't positioned to do that. It's not structured to do that. They don't have the right business model as it stands to make that amount of money. Now, do you know that this is the problem with 99% of the businesses we have online right now? The business model is wrong in the first place. It's all well and good to have these big money goals, but you've got to back it up. You've got to have the business model, the right business model to handle, or rather to produce that money goal, right? 99%. That leaves us with just 1%. Did you know that it's only 1%, right, of coaches, of those of us who are online, only 1% are actually doing six figures? Did you know that? Right? Not many people know that. Not many people know that. Right? So not only are we in a crowded market, but it's a very small amount of people in that market who are actually making that money. Now, what is the difference, or rather, what is it that sets apart those in that 1%, that sets them apart from the 99%? What is it? Well, that's some of the stuff that I'm going to be breaking down today in this live. I want to talk about the first thing. One of the first things that I took with me, right, during that whole working at the cinema and doing the math and making that decision that I wanted to work for myself and I didn't want to have a job, and since then I've never really had a job. I've only ever worked for myself, thank God. One of the things that I took away, and this is the first lesson that I want you to take away from this, is that you've got to be determined about your goal, right? No more pipe dream goals. No more pipe dreams. You see, like I mentioned earlier, it's so easy to have these money goals, but very few people are actually determined to have or to make the amount of money that they want. And this is what sets apart that 1%, right, from that 99%. That 1%, we have solid determination. I'm talking the rain could be falling right now. There could be a tornado right now, but I am not moving because I am far too determined about where I am going to be moving or to be wavering about anywhere. And so this impacts the way that I run my business. This impacts the way that I run my life. This impacts the way that I make decisions. Did you know that there are certain times of the day that you would call my phone, if you have my number, of course, right, that you would call my phone, that you would message me, or that you would send me a message on social media or on WhatsApp or whatever, and you wouldn't hear from me. You wouldn't hear from me. Why? Because I am solid, deep in my task, deep in the things that I ought to be determined and be deep for achieving my goals. I am there. Right? I'm so focused on those things that it would literally take something extremely serious to remove me away from those tasks. But the 99%, and this is what I was doing before I started to make any money online, is that you start a task, you get distracted. You start a task, your phone buzzes, and you move away from that, from your task, right? Before you even start a task, I don't know about you, but you walk to the fridge. That's what I used to do. I'd take a few trips to the fridge, back and forth, and I would do everything and anything not to do what it was that I ought to be focused on. And that was why for the first 18 months of my business, I barely made any money. In fact, I struggled to make £500 a month, $500 even a month. I struggled to make. So to go from there to be where I am today, the first step is you've got to be determined. You've got to have sheer determination that makes you immovable. Let's talk about number two, right? Number two is you've got to have laugh out loud goals. Right? Laugh out loud goals. What are laugh out loud goals? I'm talking goals that are beyond you. I'm not talking about pipe dream goals. I'm talking about goals that are beyond you, but you are so determined to achieve them. I remember about 9 years ago when my husband and I, we just got married. We wanted to buy our home, and we were turned down for mortgage from everybody, every bank. We kept getting turned down for a mortgage here and there, and you know, we nearly gave up, but we just kept on relentless. And then we met this mortgage broker, and he said, you can get a mortgage, etc. I can help you, but the fees would be really, really high, right? We wanted to own a home. We wanted to get on the property ladder, and so we agreed and we accepted. So then we found a home. This specific home that we found was way beyond anything that we could afford. It really was. So what my husband and I did, every single Sunday, we would drive to that house. We would park outside the house. We would stare at the house and we would just pray. No kidding. We'd stare at the house and we would pray. During the summer, we would come out of the car, we would walk around the block and we would just declare and call and just say, this is our home. We just kept saying it. This is our home. In fact, during that same season, this is before we even knew we could have the house. We went on a trip to Cyprus, and we were in the markets in Cyprus, and it was at the end of the day. So the market was just about to close. And there was one store that was open, and I walked right to that store. And I noticed that they had tiles in that store, number tiles, right, for houses. And they were just shutting down. Everybody was packing up. And I said to my husband, oh my goodness, they got number tiles. We should buy something for our new home. And he said, well, we don't have the home. Our offer hasn't even been accepted. We don't even know that we can get the mortgage. And I said, well, that's fine. Let's put something down in faith that we're going to get this. And so we picked up the numbers for the house. And we took it home and we flew back. We drove straight to that house. We stood outside the house. We put up the numbers, the door numbers of the house, and we just declared, this is our home. Did you know that we eventually bought that house? Not only did we buy that house, but the moment we bought the house, we had a conversation, and again, we went back to prayer and we said, we're going to pay off this house within 10 years. That was our goal. If we can pay off this house within 10 years, we would have done very, very well. And so we set out on that goal. And we ended up paying it off within 80 years. So this is a property, number one, that we couldn't afford. Number two, for mortgage that we got turned down for several times. We finally got the mortgage. The interest was extremely high, so we set a higher goal. So this is what I mean by you have to have a laugh out loud goal. The type of goal that people look at you and go, you're cracking me up. Right? This is such a silly goal. Are you sure you can do this? Like, for real? Like, really, Pam? Like, really? I love it. Do you know that I get a kick? I actually get a kick out of people laughing at my goal. I think there's just something about it that just does something to my brain. Like, that gives me that extra inch of pizzazz, that extra inch of, oh, really? You want to, okay, it's funny. Okay, cool. That's good. Okay. You have just given me the motivation that I need. You need to be that way, because that is what the 1% does. The 1%, that 1%, they have laugh out loud goals, but it's not a pipe dream. Notice how I mentioned that not only did we have that big goal, but we set aside the steps to help us to achieve that goal. So number one is you've got to be determined. Number two is you've got to have the laugh out loud goal. Now, what is number three? Number three is you must be willing to do the things that others are not willing to do in order to have the things that others won't have. Oh, this one got me. This one was and is my saving grace every single day. Whenever I'm tired, a little bit exhausted, a little bit annoyed, a little bit demotivated, I'm a human being. That happens all the time, in fact, right? I remind myself, right? It's a quote by Les Brown, and he says, you must be willing to do the things that others aren't willing to do in order to have the things that others won't have. You've got to be willing to do that. And so that is why every morning I get up at 5 a.m. Sometimes I'm rolling out of bed because I'm exhausted, right? But I remember the moment I'm too tired, I remember, but Pam, what is it that you need to do? What is it that's going to keep you in that 1% or get you into that 1%? What is it that others are not willing to do? Do you know that there are very few people really willing to go to town and grind on their goal? Very few people, right? Oh, everybody has a goal and everybody has, the steps in their mind that they ought to take. But in terms of the people actually doing it, very, very few people. So whenever you feel that you feel a little bit exhausted, you feel a little bit discouraged, I want you to remember those words. You must be willing to do the things that others won't do in order to have the things that others won't have. That will help you. Let's jump on to number 4. Number 4 is to find your rock bottom, right? Find your rock bottom. What do I mean by that? What is your rock bottom? Your rock bottom is that thing that you know you need, right? You know it will help you to achieve your goal, but you know that you don't have the skills. You got to find what that thing is, and you've got to go to town on that thing. I'll give you an example. I mentioned earlier that I really struggled within the first 18 months. In fact, within the first 2 years, I actually really struggled. It was really bad. Every day I was quitting. To be quite frank with you, it was that bad, right? But you've got to find your rock bottom. As I look back, I realized that there were quite a few things that I was afraid of doing. I was afraid of running Facebook ads. I was afraid of building sales systems. I was afraid of investing in myself. These were the 3 core things that I was truly afraid of. And because of this, I did things on the cheap, right? Like most people do. So I would watch a ton of YouTube videos instead of investing in coaching, right? I wouldn't run any ads. I would depend solely on organic marketing, which is great and it works incredibly well. So I'm not even knocking it, but it's not great for scaling and it certainly isn't good for scalability, right? So I would do all of these things that most people are doing, and you think to yourself that, you know, you're saving a bit of money there, and you think to yourself, well, you know, it's good for me. Well, it's good for me to learn these things the hard way. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. There are no prizes for the last person. The last person on the race, right? I remember growing up when I would come back from school, if there was an exam, and I would say, Daddy, I had a test today, I had an exam today. And he would say, did you come first? That's what my dad would say. That's how I was brought up. And it was annoying, but it gave me the backbone that I needed, that I still use now. So you've got to find your rock bottom. What is it that you need in your business, that you need to help you to be a success? What is that thing? You've got to discover that thing and go to town on that skill, right? Figure it out. What is it? It's a high-paying skills. I published a video on my YouTube channel. Make sure you check that out, where I was sharing, I think it was 10 high-paying skills that you need to have. And I realized that out of the 10 high-paying skills that I shared, 5 of them are not even negotiable, guys. Non-negotiable. Right, you've got to have these things. If you want to hit 6 figures, if you want to hit 7 figures, you've got to do it. What are they? They're storytelling. You've got to learn to master how to use stories to sell. You've got to learn how to master how to connect with people on a heart-to-heart level and not sell all the time. This is what is going to work for you in 2021. Number 2. And that is your sales system. Gone are the days where you know you're just going to go live every day and post every day and post. No. Yes, my business is constantly online 24/7, but I'm not constantly online 24/7. There are systems that allows us to do these things. And I'll leave you, head over to my YouTube channel to check out that video. It's called High Paying Skills. Go and check that out, because I can promise you that if you have these big money goals, you need to back it up with these high paying skills. So you've got to find what is that thing that you are missing. For me, it was the ability to run Facebook ads, right? For me, it was the ability to create sales system. And would you know, what is it that my business does now? All of those things. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So you've got to find those things and go to town on them. Hire a coach, get courses, get up every morning and invest in yourself with your time. It's called compound effect. That's what it is. When I was learning to run Facebook ads, I would get up and every single day I would open Ads Manager, right, to look at it. For the first few days, I would look at it and just want to cry blood. Like, seriously? I just thought, what is this? It's so complicated. There are numbers everywhere. I don't understand this data. But I was too determined about my goal to just quit. So every day I'd wake up, open my laptop, open Ads Manager and just stare. And just stare until it doesn't scare me anymore. And then I started to take steps to actually set up my own ads, to set up, to try different techniques. The same thing with building sales systems, right? I created loads of sales systems that failed initially. It didn't make me a penny. Zilch, it didn't make, right? But I kept going back and I understood that the winner of this race is the one who is most determined. And that was why step 1 was what? Determination. You gotta be determined, right? You gotta have that. You got to find your rock bottom, right? Find that thing that you know that you are not very good at, because we don't possess every single skill, and you go to town on that. So number 5, and this is my final point, and that is this, and this was the biggest lesson that I learned, and it will do you well to take this away. And that is this: find somebody who has done what it is that you want to do and do whatever they tell you to do. I'm going to repeat that again for those at the back. Find someone who has done exactly what it is you want to do. So they have hit the goals that you want to hit, right? They have taken the steps that you hope to take, right? You want to find them and you want to do what they tell you to do. Like I mentioned earlier, for the first nearly 2 years of my business, I struggled massively. The reason I struggled is because I was trying to bootstrap my business. I was trying to get strategy from here and strategy from there and watch this YouTube video and, read this blog and listen to this podcast. All of the things that I'm sure you recognize. Search yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. But what you want to ask yourself is, how determined am I about my goal? And how quickly do I want to achieve that goal? Because if you know that this is something that you are serious about doing, then you've got to find someone who has done it and do whatever they say. That means invest in yourself. Find a coach. Find somebody who you are going to listen to. And when you find this coach, make sure that you do listen. I have come across so many people who shoot themselves in the foot by just, know it all. They feel like they know it all. They're too big. And one of the things I was in a meeting over the weekend with a small group, and we were just discussing an event that's happening in Dubai that hopefully I'll be speaking at, and we were just discussing all these things. And just before I went into that meeting, I'd spoken to my friend about the meeting and just sharing some of the things that I hope to bring to the plate. And she said to me, but Pam, aren't you've got so much going on. Do you really need that event? And she meant well. And I said, you know what? One of the things that has really helped me is that I don't have any pride. That means I'm not too big to learn, or it's not too big for me, right? If I feel that something is good for me, I just go for it, right? And so you've got to make sure that pride doesn't hold you back. And what is pride? Pride is, I can do it on my own. Pride is, I've done it before. Pride is, I've seen it done before. Oh, I know how to do that. I don't need you. That is what that is. That is one of the biggest things that will hurt your journey to that money goal. The moment you come off that and you become a learner, that is who I am. Every single day, I'm a learner. I attack my business as a learner. So that allows my mind to receive information and to digest that information and to use that information, as opposed to feeling as though I already know it all, even though, to be quite frank, there is truly nothing new under the sun. I don't think there's anything you could put on the table that I don't know about or that I haven't tried, right? I wouldn't be where I am right now if I hadn't done pretty much every strategy under the sun. But still, I forget all of that, right? And I'm willing to learn. I have coaches. Everybody in that 1% that I mentioned has a coach. What about you? What about you? So let me quickly run it down, right? The secrets that I shared with you today, number one was determination. You're going to be so determined about your goal, right? That it's too big. It's too big for you to let go of. You've got to be determined. Number two is that you have to have a laugh out loud type of goal. If I cannot hear your goal and go, what? It's not big enough. If your goal doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough. But I don't want you to have pipe dream type of goals. No, that's redundant to you. You've got to have goals and be willing to back it up. Back up that goal, i.e. what are you willing to do? And that leads me to number three, which is you must be willing to do the things that others won't do in order to have the things that others won't have. That means that it's not just about saying you want it. It's not just about saying you need it. It's not just about feeling like it would change your life. It's not about that. It's about doing the things, the implementation, right? It's about being able to track your day and know that the steps that you have taken have led you towards a certain point, right? It's about being intentional. Number four was find your rock bottom. What is that skill? What is that thing that you are missing? Go to town on it. Attack it like your life depends on it, right? Make yourself a commitment to be the master over that skill. Is it storytelling? Be the master over that. Is it pay that? Oh, you can smash that, can't you? Is it sales systems? Oh, for goodness sake, I don't have two heads. If I can do it, why can't you? Right? That is how you've got to attack these things. And finally, number five, that is find somebody who has done it before and do everything that they tell you, right? Forget your pride. Forget that you know it. Forget that you bought a course on it. Who cares? Leave that course to gather dust. Find a real person, right? Who has done it and follow their steps. Do everything that they tell you to do. Thank you so much for watching. I want you to comment below which of the 5 mindset shifts that I talked about do you think you need to focus on the most. Let me know in the comments below and I will share with you a specific strategy to help you achieve that. Now, before we go, I want to invite you to join me inside my upcoming live masterclass where I will be teaching you how to use a proven formula that I use and that my clients use. It's called the SOL framework, and I teach you how to use that to turn your story and your expertise into a wildly profitable online coaching business. If that sounds like something you want to learn about, it is absolutely free, but it's very limited. So the link will be below this video. Go ahead and save your spot now, and I'll see you in that masterclass. See you then. So before you go, I want you to dive into this video where I break down some of the sales systems that we use to create a 6-figure per month strategy. Let's dive in.